following show contains adult content. It's not our intent to offend anyone, but we want to inform you that if you are a child under the age of 18 or get offended easily, this next show may not be for you. The content, opinions, and subject matter of these shows are solely the choice of your show hosts and their guests, and not those of the Entertainment Network or any affiliated stations. Any comments or inquiries should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for listening.
Hey everyone, and welcome to 50 Shades of Bullshit. I'm your host, Christine Lalonde, and this is the podcast where we uncover the truth about online dating. Now let's begin. Hey, I'm Christine.
And I'm Janice.
And this is 50 Shades of Bullshit.
Holla!
Oh my God. So, as we're waiting, as the intro starts to come on, I look at myself and I go, oh my God, I have no lip color. So I go, oh, plenty of time. I go running into the bathroom. I throw some on really quick. I turn around to go running out and my door had closed a little bit. And I ran full on into my door frame, like the door. But knocked the air out of myself. And then I was like, oh my God, I hope I make it through this show. About an hour or so ago, I started getting sick, like a food poisoning kind of sick. So we'll see how well this show goes.
So, all right. I'm hoping that for you as well. Hi.
Right. So we're happy to have Janice back this week. Jada is a matchmaker and she is at a matchmaker conference this week. And we're super excited for her. She's having a blast and, I sent her a have a good time today message. So she'll be back next week. So Janice went to, where did you go?
Auckland, New Zealand.
In New Zealand. And you were spending time with one of our guests.
Yep. Jessie Marie.
Mm-hmm. Yep. She came on and did Kink 101. Yep. And I'm sure you guys had a good time.
We definitely did. Yes. Jessie and I have been friends for actually a few years now, but we had not met in person. We met during the pandemic in life coaching school. And I kind of chose her. You know, I really wanted to be her friend because I thought she was so cool.
She is.
We've done lots of content together. And I flew over and saw her. I was there for 2.5 weeks. And so I
Awesome.
missed you, but we did have a great time. It was really nice to see her in person and also discover, as I did when I met you in person, that we got along, you know, just as well in person as we did over the phone. And it was a blast. And we even got a little kinky.
I love it. I love it. You went to a kinky party. I love that.
Yes.
I was like, I haven't been to a kink party since before COVID. So
But you went to a kink club.
What's that?
Didn't you go to a kinky club or something recently?
No.
All right. It must have been in my dream, or I'm remembering very incorrectly or something.
You probably heard my man, I miss the kink clubs.
And it just registered as kink club.
Yeah. I think when we had Jessie on, we talked about it. And I know a lot of people who run the kink clubs here in LA and the private parties. And I still get a lot of information about it, but you know, I'm sure Christian would be up to going with me, but we just haven't, you know, gotten to where we've had time to do it, or even, you know, I know what you're talking about. Christian and I did go to the bondage ball.
That's a little kinky, if you ask me.
It was so boring. It was non-kinky. I mean, there were a few people in like kink outfits, and it was supposed to have a whole VIP room with like, you know, things to be able to watch people do kinky stuff or have the equipment for kinky. And it just, we never saw it. It wasn't around. It was the worst kink party I've ever gone to, like for the bondage ball. But we had fun. I mean, we danced, we hung out, and then we've got high and left. So
I had fun at mine. I got spanked pretty hard, which I really enjoyed. Yep.
Yeah. Who doesn't?
Yep. It might not be everybody's cup of tea, but it sure is mine.
Well,
I had an
Sister,
interesting
I agree.
experience because, this was something that I kind of sought out to do whilst I was at the party, and the person who I had the experience with did what they were supposed to do, got in touch with me the next day, checked in, provided like all of the aftercare, and I was very
Nice.
impressed by that. Yes,
Oh, that is impressive.
yeah, I was. It was great. It was a wonderful experience. I'd like to go back and see her again. It strengthened our friendship. It did a
I
lot for
love
me
that.
personally. And while I missed you, it was great. It was
I have to go next time.
okay. Sure.
I literally have always wanted to go to New Zealand. I've been to Australia and I loved it, but I've been dying to go to New Zealand. So we'll have to plan that sometime and go back and see Jessie.
Well, and she's thinking of coming here. So when she does, we have to get us all together and have some fun, even if it's just going. It doesn't have to be kinky clubbing. We can just go clubbing because I know that Christine likes that. And yeah, we could have some real fun together.
Awesome. Well, this week during this episode, we are talking about how to meet your match, and so we're going to have a good time talking with our guest today, Lena Ehrenberg. Did I say that right? Lena has been on the show before. She is a professional dating coach, and she's incredible. And we have so much fun when she's on the show. So we're just going to bring her on, and we're going to start chit-chatting.
Yeah, she's also a personal friend of ours, which I think is pretty cool.
Hi, Lena.
Hello. Hi.
Well, we're happy to have you back. You look beautiful.
Thank you.
You changed your hair.
I changed my hair. I am out of COVID hair. No more COVID hair.
I love it. It's beautiful.
Like rough. I don't know where all of you are, but where I was, they shut down the salons immediately. And then, they opened them for like a minute and a half, and I missed that window. And then they shut them down again. And then they opened them again for 3 minutes. So I ran in there real quick, and then they shut them. It's just been up and down, up and down. But thank you. Yeah, it's good to see you both.
It's good to see you.
Love it.
Well, thank you for coming back and hanging out with us today. We're gonna have some girl talk about how to meet your match, and we're gonna talk about some dating stories today. So we're gonna have some advice and some fun, things for guests. So we're happy you are here. So Lena, for those listening who missed the last show that you were on, tell us about you and what you do professionally in the dating industry, and we'll go from there.
Yeah. Okay. First of all, can I just tell you, if you missed the last show I was on, you got to go back and watch that.
Yes,
you really do. Okay.
Let me. While you're talking, I'm going to see what episode it was, and let them know. So go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah. So what I do in the dating industry, well, first of all, I date myself personally. So it's always good to be a user of your own product, right? So, and I date so differently now than I ever used to. So there's a benefit to that as well. So I love to help women who want to have totally different experiences of dating than they've ever had before. And different experiences of relationships than they have ever had before, right? I have a bunch of clients who have never been married, and some of them want to be. And so they, that's something that they look forward to in our work. But some of them just really just want to be out and dating and experiencing romance and fun, and, kind of all do what we think everybody else was doing as teenagers. Those of us who know that we weren't doing it, we want to do it now, right? So that's really what it is. When and especially, in this period of time right now, people want to have fun. People also want to have purpose. People want to be with nice, kind people. And so we talk about that a lot in the coaching that I do, about what kind of person are you? What are you bringing to this relationship co-create with someone? So that's a lot of the work that I do. And I work with women who are of a variety of ages, but I have a lot of clients right now who are in their late 30s and have spent a lot of time, their time and energy on their businesses. Some of them are business owners. Some of them are very dedicated to their careers in certain fields. And, you know, everybody's kind of looking over their shoulder right now saying, me, now it's time for me. So, yeah.
Nice. I love that. Well, Lena was on episode 32 called Identity and Dating. That was a really fun episode. So if you guys missed that, you should go back and check it. And we're really glad that you are here today. So today we're going to talk about how to meet your match. And it's essentially just like how to get out there and how to date. So let's get some of your suggestions. And then Janice, if you have anything that you want to put in there. Janice is a podcast host as well. For those of you who don't know Janice, if you've been on listening to our show at any point in time, you know Janice. She's X-Files podcast, and she is a breakup coach. Yep. So my phone is blowing up.
Well, breakup and dating again. So I'm
Yes.
supporting people who are dating after, you know, the devastation of a breakup. And so I'm excited about this topic. And I also, you know, what did you say, Lena? I also date. I don't know what you said, but I'm the buyer of my own product. Is that what you said?
I'm an enthusiastic user of my own product. Yeah.
You know, what's funny is that I tend to notice that most dating coaches or whatever, or somebody in the industry are also dating. And I actually love that because I find that they are more relevant. They understand what's going on. They get the dating apps. They get what's happening nowadays. I found that those who were very, very long-term relationship people, married a long time, and they were current dating coaches, that they just didn't get it.
I like how you're saying that, because I was single for an undisclosed amount of time whilst I was building my practice. And a lot of people push back on that. Well, you're single and you're not even dating, so how do you know? It's like, because I'm learning to be, you know, like the person that I want to be to get out there again. And now that I was single for that long, I'm like, you know, got it down. So it was valuable for me as a coach to have that time.
Yeah, especially now. I mean, let's talk about technology. How much has that changed? You know, you know, back in the day, you didn't, first of all, you know, point one, you didn't even want to tell anybody you were online dating. Right. And then it was, you know, what are any of those sites ever even around anymore or relevant, or, you know, and now we're talking about apps, and we're talking about doing things on our phones. But here's the other thing about that, though, Janice, and you make a really, really good point. I love that we're talking about this, that that the idea that in order to be able to coach clients who want to be married, you have to be married.
I don't think it's that way at all.
Right. I don't think it is either, because it's not about me being in a particular type of relationship. It's about, how have I evolved myself? How have I grown through my life and kept moving forward? It's more, especially when you talk about, you know, you have listeners, I'm sure, of a variety of ages. And it's a lot easier to feel resilient in your 20s or 30s. The resiliency of your thought and your commitment to yourself and your belief in yourself and your belief in your ability to create a relationship really thins for you as you move forward, right? And so
smart. Yes, and it was a big chunk of my 30s when I was single, and I think that supports and helps a lot of people, because so many people say that they're terrified of being single in their 30s or 35 and still single. I was like, but you can, and it makes you better, and it makes you stronger. And
I've gotten better, and I'm not going to tell you how long ago this was, but in my 40s ish.
I don't
starting with
it.
that. Okay, good. We'll go with that. But let's just say in a particular decade of my life, when I really started to grow, I really started to invest in myself. I got coaching for the first time ever. And I invested a big chunk of money in a coaching program because I just felt like it had something for me. And it did. And I walked out of there totally different here, not in my waistline, not in my hips, here. And from that moment on, I have not gone out on a date with a man who's older than me. Not because I don't want to, but because younger men pursue me.
Mm-hmm.
And there's something in that, though. There's something in making the commitment to self-growth and really finding your true self at whatever age that might be. I always say, pick an age you like and stick with it, right?
Yes, that's what I think too.
I happen to like a lot of ages. So funny story. It was maybe about 5 or 6 days ago. It was definitely this last week. I had someone reach out to me and said, "Hey, Christine, how are you?" And
This
and
happens
I
to you all the time, girl.
constantly, all the time. And I said, I'm good, thank you. But who is this? Because it could be a client, it could be an old friend, it could be anybody. So I said, who is this? And they said, oh, it's Ben. And I said, sorry, I don't know a Ben. And he said, oh yeah, we met on POF, which is Plenty of Fish. And I said, well, dude, I haven't been on Plenty of Fish in 4 years.
Oh my God.
And he's like, oh yeah, that checks. And I said, why would you be reaching out to me 4 years later? He said, because you told me I was too young for you 4 years ago. And I'm just checking to see, since I'm 4 years older, if I'm old enough for you now.
Oh, wow.
And I said, well, I've also aged 4 years. So the age gap hasn't changed. So what do you think may have changed? He goes, well, I was 18 at the time and I'm 22 now. And I wanted to know if I could, go out with you now.
Love it.
And I said, well, my hard fast rule is that you have to be older than my oldest daughter. So you would have to be at least 30. And
Respect.
He goes, really? And I go, yeah. And second of all, the most important, I'm actually in a really great relationship now. And he goes, damn it. He goes, can I still, contact you? Can I still reach out to you? And I said,
what?
No, there's no point. And then he's like, can I ask advice?
What?
And I was like, because he knew that he had said, what have you been up to? And I did say, oh, I have a podcast. Maybe you should listen to it. It might help you. And he's like, oh, then can I get advice from you? And I said, yeah. So I was fine with that. And he asked me this dumb fucking question. And I was like, yeah, dude, I'm going to block you now.
Come on, you have to tell us what the question was. This is 50 shades of bullshit. Okay, you're not going to hold back on us, are you?
Yeah, exactly.
He said, so why are women my age so difficult to date? Why are they so uptight? And he's like, I find that when I'm dating women in their 40s and 50s, it works for me because they're much freer, they're much more open, and girls who are my age are just impossible to be with because there's a big disconnect. And I said, are you talking sexually or emotionally? And he's like, sexually, of course. I said, of course.
Naturally.
And he said, and I said, well, I'm going to tell you my opinion. My opinion is that women under 30, personally, I think under 30, are still learning about themselves. They're still growing. They're still learning what they want personally and emotionally, much less sexually. I find that after you hit 30 and older, you start to be more experimental. You start to own your sexuality and your body. When you hit your 40s, you just start revving up. You hit your 50s and you're like, fuck yeah. So, personally, I think in my own personal opinion, that's what happens just by having friends of different age categories, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and plus. And he's like, oh, okay, I can see that. And then he goes on without even asking me if it was okay.
Girl, bring it.
He's like, well, I went on vacation to Croatia. And he said, I met this woman in her late 40s, early 50s. I think she was in her 50s. He's like, that we hooked up and had this, this sexual affair while I was there. And I said, okay, good for you. And he said, he's like, she wanted me to lick her butt hole. And I was like, okay. And I was like, okay, what? He goes, but that's so kinky and so cool. And I just don't understand why younger women won't let me do that. And I said, you're just not finding the right women that are looking for you. Go on a kink site, go somewhere that, not just a normal everyday site where women in their 20s want to get married. You got to find somebody that is looking for that.
Well, it sounds like he wants someone who will ask for what she wants. And naturally, as you get older,
Yes.
you learn how to do that and take out and look after your own needs. That's what my takeaway from this is.
Yeah.
And yeah, you
Pretty
learn
much.
that with time.
Yeah. And then I was like, bye-bye, Ben. Ben, the two of us seem but no more. So anyway, so that was my story. But back to what you were talking about, Lena, you were saying, I don't know what kind of demographic is listening to your show, but I have to say there are a lot of people who are married that also listen to my show, and they are actually getting they're getting information that benefits their relationships, because we don't just talk about dating, but also I think when we do talk about dating, they get this sense of relief that, okay, what I'm going through, I can fix, because I do not want to go through what y'all are going through.
Well, yeah, but I think part of it also is that everything is a relationship. Absolutely every interaction in life is a relationship, right? And so it's really, really nice to be in relationship with people who have an awareness of other people, past their own nose, right? And so it doesn't matter if it's dating or relationship or marriage. Of course, you're going to hear something that's going to help you in your interrelations with other people. Yeah, that makes total sense.
Yeah, we just did an episode a couple months ago, Lena and I, on how you break up is how you do everything. And we applied the manner in which you heal from a breakup and how that relates to your professional life, your relationship with your family, and other interactions that you have with people. And it's true.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
Everything. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
And it kind of brings me around to something I was going to say. I took a note on the, I'm just a little aside to your listeners and people who are watching the show. So you get all these kind of prompts when you're waiting in the green room to be brought on into the studio to start the show. And as a guest, the hosts are starting the show and they're out there and you're sitting there in the virtual green room, I guess it is. And I thought this is so appropriate for what we were talking about today, because there's a big pop-up that comes up and says, you're in the green room right now, but the show has started, and the host can bring you into the studio at any time. Be ready. And I thought, be ready. We talked about that, right? I mean, we talked about that's one of the things that I had to learn over the course of my life, that, so many women say, where can I meet a good man? Good men are everywhere. They're absolutely everywhere. Good men are going about living their lives. And if you go about living your life, chances are you've run into at least one good man. I'm going to say probably one good man every day, depending on how often you leave the house.
Yeah.
Right. So, but we're not always ready for that. It's not about, I have to, get dressed up and go to a club, or I have to, get online to meet somebody, because now that it's not just online anymore either, or on an app, which is really nice too. And that is one thing I will say that I have a lot of clients say to me, I want it to be more organic. People really, I think we've all spent so much time in virtual rooms for the past 3 years. And I think it's going to be a little bit of everything. I really do, because you got to go where the people are who are looking for the same thing that you're looking for. And
I definitely want to say something to that, Lena. You are on the money, because I met this woman this last week or so down in where Christian lives, my boyfriend. And we were walking the dog and we met one of the neighbors outside and we were chatting, and she something came up about my podcast, and she said she was dating, or she wanted to date but didn't know what to do. She wanted to meet organically. And I asked her, I said, what are you doing to meet these men organically? And are you prepared when you do meet them emotionally? And, are you ready? And she says, yes, I've been really working on myself. And I said, that's amazing. But what are you doing to meet them organically? Where are you going? She goes, I'm not going anywhere. I said, what are you doing? She goes, well, I'm at home. And I said, are you going online? And she says, no, I want to meet them organically. And I said, you can't meet your match when you're sitting at home watching fucking TV and not going somewhere. She goes, well, I don't know where to go anymore. She goes, I don't want to go to a bar. And I said, here's my best suggestion. Yeah, I said, first and foremost, walk out the door. Second, go for a walk in different neighborhoods. I said, what do you like to do? She goes, I like to golf. I said, then go golfing.
Oh my God, hello, golfing?
That's where all the men are. That's where all the men are.
Yeah,
yes.
Absolutely.
Oh, there are men there.
you just reminded me of two things that I really have to share. So one of which was that, okay, here's the story that everybody's waiting to be able to say is their story, right? My sister lives in Manhattan. She lives in a huge apartment building. And so somebody moved in next door to her, and the person who lives above them, a couple of days after they moved in, the person upstairs came downstairs. I can't remember which was the man and which was the woman, doesn't really matter. Upstairs neighbor knocks on downstairs neighbor's door and says, I know you just moved in. Really sorry to do this. Could you turn down your music? It's way too loud. A year later, they were married.
Oh.
I mean, that's sweet and everything. And I can't say I would possibly go there, but
right. But here's the thing. We all know millions of people. That is the first time I've heard that story, but that's the story we're all waiting to be able to tell about ourselves. We really think that we're going to sit at home and destiny is going to knock on the door. And
yeah, it doesn't
apparently, maybe if you live in a huge apartment building in Manhattan, it does. But,
meeting people in real life and meeting people organically is not about saying, I am going to this bar to meet someone. I am going to the golf course and hopefully someone will pick me up. Right. It's about being approachable. It's about having your self-worth up so that people want to talk to you. It's about generally getting out there and having a zest for life. And
that's the being ready part. It's the mental readiness that we have to have. That's exactly what I was going to say.
There's like a method to it, go here, meet someone. But I mean, sometimes perhaps, but it's just generally about enjoying your life and being to a place where you can welcome that opportunity in when and if it arrives.
Well, when I talk to people about going out, like joining a hiking group, do a artwork group, go golfing, whatever. I said, it's not just about doing that, because Janice, you're right on the money with that. It's not about going and doing that. One, you have to be approachable. If you're not approachable, what the hell? You're not gonna meet anybody. If you're smiling and saying hi to everybody, if you're like striking up conversation, even if he's, even if there's a mixed bag of nuts in there, like married, not married, whatever, just be approachable and be friendly and talk to everybody. That's what's going to make the men that are single and available be comfortable to talk with you. And if you're not doing that, then
to everybody, the more chances that you'll have. And just like kind of chill out about it. And like I keep on saying, enjoy life. I went and played triple X bingo with my boyfriend last night. And before it started, I was sitting next to this really cute woman at the bar, and I asked her to join us. And she did, and we all had a complete blast. And afterwards, my boyfriend was like, "We've got to introduce her to so and so." And it was just because we liked being around her so much that now we're, I think probably are going to introduce her to someone.
I think you read my mind, because when I was saying, if you go to a place and there are like married men there, or married couples or together couples, that if you meet those, they have friends and they have single friends. Yep. So it's about opening your circle of people and just be approachable and saying, yeah, I'm single, I'm having a good time. Then they want to introduce
anyone. I guarantee you that. I chatted with her quite a bit. That was not her purpose of being there. Her purpose of being there was get out of the house, do something fun, find somewhere else to finish up some of her work, and then she just like kind of went with the flow, and she was lovely. And
yeah, exactly. Because think about it. If you're setting that intention already, that's not really organic. Right? People keep using the word organic because
I hate it.
They mean it not virtual, right? They mean not technology, but intention is not organic. They mean in person. They want to meet someone in person. Okay, so I have to share this story. So first of all, the first thing is, I think I said this to you the other day, Janice, I have lost count of the number of times I have been asked on a date at the gas station.
I think that's hot.
Okay.
I got asked for a number at the gas station. Oh yeah, that was hot.
Yeah. and one of them was some guy who said he remembered me. And this is like a few years after high school. Some guy said he remembered me from high school. I didn't remember him. So here's the other part of that is we never know who's watching, and we never know who does remember us, right? We think, okay, so there's that. But here is, here's another one. Okay, now I'm going to slip another one in before the big one. So how do you meet someone? Where do you go?
That's what she said. That's
right. Exactly. So where do I go? What do I do? How do you be ready and you engage and you talk to people, right? So I went out one afternoon and I drove to a city that I'm not in a lot. And I wanted to just like go and have lunch, and there was a particular store I wanted to go to. So I go, and there's this street, and there's all these parking meters, right? So, and there's an empty space. So I pull into the empty space, and I notice that there's the pole for the meter, but there's no meter on top of it. So I was like, I don't know, am I allowed to park here? And I look around, and across the street, there's a police officer. And he's just standing there. He's kind of, gonna maybe give tickets to people. So I thought, oh, well, if anybody knows, he would. And so I walked across the street and I just said, hi, excuse me. Am I allowed to park over there? There's no meter. I don't know how this works. Long story short, we talked for 45 minutes and we went out on 2 dates.
Ooh, I was hoping it was going to go like porn, more like.
I know.
Sorry.
He took his, he brought over his baton.
Yeah, I know. Let's do some baton jokes. No, but I'm exactly right. But that was organic, right? My intention was not to get towed. It was not to think I was going to wind up going out with the police officer. Okay. So now the big story. I love this. Okay. So I was driving in another city and merging from one side street that kind of makes a V kind of into another like 4-lane highway, but it wasn't like a freeway where people couldn't stop, but it was a big street. So as I'm getting closer and closer and this traffic is kind of slowed down and then they stop for the light, I look up and I roll down my window and there's a guy in an SUV right next to me. And I kind of did the universal, hi, can I get in front of you? Kind of, hi, can I get in? And he goes, and he rolls down his window. He goes, you're cute. And I said, thank you. And he said, what's your number?
Oh.
And I said, what? Wait, what? He goes, I'll let you in front of me if you give me your number. And I was like, how are you going to? And he's like, just pull out his phone, just yell, what's your number? And literally, I gave him my number, and he put it in his phone. I merged in front of him, and I wasn't even at the light before my phone's ringing.
That happened to me once.
And he and I went out. It did. My God, you got like literally in traffic while you're driving.
Yeah, I was driving down one of the canyons here in LA, and there was a guy in the right-hand lane next to me. And he's like waving frantically. And I'm like, what the fuck? So I look over and he's like, hi, roll down your window. So I roll down I go, yeah. He goes, what's your number? You're fucking beautiful. And I was like, okay. He turned out to be a complete freak and I had to block him. But hey, you know.
I have had a traffic story. I actually don't really drive that often, but I have had men come up and say either they remembered me or just that I'm glowing and they just have to get to know me more. Or just want to know
I
my
love
name
it.
type of
Yeah.
thing.
Well, last week I was on the phone with my oldest daughter. She's 29. And she was coming back from an event. She was driving through Hollywood, and it was a Friday or Saturday night, and it's pretty packed. And she's on the phone with me. And as she's on the phone with me, I hear her going, oh my God, oh my God. And I was like, what's going on? She goes, there's a really hot guy in a truck next to me. And he's like asking me for my number. And she goes, I'm going to put myself out there. Fuck this. And then she starts yelling, hi, you're cute. Here's my number. And they did text each other. I don't know where it went from there, but it happens. But you have to be open to that. And,
you have to be open to that, and you have to be mentally ready for it to happen.
Yeah.
Well, this is why I think, where like self-worth comes into play. Something I like to talk to my client or with my clients about is, what is your general attitude about dating? If you actually do want to meet someone organically or out in the wild in person, are you generally telling yourself that dating sucks, that men suck, that there's no good people out there, that it's horrible being single? Or are you just like curious and excited about what's going to happen? Because your attitude about it is going to absolutely determine how things end up going and who wants to approach you in the first place.
Right. And if
sister.
And if you don't believe that there are any good men out there, you're not going to see them.
Exactly.
You're going to keep asking where they are, and they're not all hiding somewhere. You have to believe that they exist.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of that whole thing that I talk about when I talk about manifesting and when you go approach to dating and you talk about, what you want instead of what you don't want, you have to let go of the negativity, because just like we've talked about in the past, your mind, your subconscious, and the universe doesn't understand the negative. It just hears what you're saying. So if you're saying there are no good men out there, it's going to bring you all these shitheads. And if you are going out there thinking there are a lot of great men, I'm going to meet them, positive, positive, positive. And you're like, I love the opportunity to meet somebody. If you're constantly thinking the positive and putting out the yes instead of the nah, then that's what you're going to get. But if you're negative, no, there's this, there's that, and that's what you're going to get 100%.
And your vibration as well. If you're thinking negative things, people aren't going to see you as someone who they want to approach, because you're negative.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
And so, a big part of that also is this whole, everybody's talking about, it's all red flags, red flags, red flags, red flags. Is this a red flag? Is this a red flag? Is this I hate it. So
it's an important conversation, but
I'm always talking about green flags. We have to retrain ourselves. Look, here's the thing, all red flag wavers.
Yeah.
There was a time when you didn't see that. There was a time that you didn't know that. You have had to be trained to see the negative. And now you have to retrain yourself to look for the positive. It's a learned behavior.
This is what I have to say about that. For those naysayers that say, but there are men out there that have a tremendous amount of red flags. And if I'm ignoring them, then I'm going to get in a bad relationship. No, this is what you're doing. You're putting yourself, like Janice said, on a higher vibration level. If you are looking for the green flags and talking about the positive and putting that higher vibration, you are meeting people with the same level of vibration. You're not meeting people with those fucking red flags. So stop looking for the flags, because those red ones are there and you will find them if you're on that wavelength. But when you're on a higher vibration and a higher wavelength, you are going to find the ones with the green flags that you're looking for. So that's the difference between the negative and the positive, and thinking that you are going to be in a place, whoa, what if I'm only looking for the green and the red is there and I'm ignoring it? The red won't be there if you're choosing better men. If you are putting yourself at a higher vibration and a higher level, you are not going to meet those same fools that you were meeting on that lower vibration.
Right.
And you'll be able to just so quickly weed things out, because
Yes.
you know your self-worth is so high that it
Yes.
just like kind of becomes this automatic thing.
And the
yeah.
other thing about that though is when you have elevated yourself to that position, if there are red flags, you're going to see them and they're not going to be attractive to you. That's the thing.
Yes.
All of you all who believe
Yes.
that you live at the effect of all of these red flag waving men in the world and that you can't possibly, control that at all. First of all, dating coaches, we're phenomenal people. We help a lot, right?
Yes.
So there's that. So if you really feel like, this is the other thing that I was going to say earlier, the kind of work that I really, really like to do with clients is moving people out of patterns that are not creating what they want, right? We all have patterns.
Yep.
We all have habits. You've gotten to this place in life by doing certain things. And if you want to be in a different situation in life, you need to learn how to do different things, right? So that's something that you can really, really actively change for yourself. It doesn't have to always feel like I say you can't keep trying to protect yourself from all of these people out there who are not right for you. Does not keep you safe. It keeps you separate. You have to learn how to protect yourself.
Yes.
Right. So that you go into any situation and because there's something attractive about those people to you, or you wouldn't be, engaging with them in the first place or seeing them that much. So,
well, you are protecting yourself if you are on a journey of growth. If you are on this path of working on you, being happy, being healthy, being comfortable with being alone, being comfortable with in your own body and not having these, oh, I'm this, oh, I'm that. If you're working on you, you are protecting yourself from these things because, like we've said all along, you're in a different place. And you see the people that aren't right for you a lot quicker, and you just walk away. There's no involvement. You're not catching on. Oh, Phil. Phil's back. Hey, Phil.
Hey, Phil.
Phil says, I'm vibrating right now watching the three of you. Honey, I'm sure you are. Thank you very much.
He's high-vibing. I think that's
He's high-vibing with the three sisters here.
The point
we love high-vibing.
The point that I wanted to make was I think that it is valid, especially with all the awareness that has been raised about toxic relationships, narcissism, domestic violence, and this type of thing. It's good that we have our eyes open to these elements in relationships, but that after a breakup, this is like one stage of the healing process is kind of removing yourself for a little bit. And if you feel really paranoid about what's going to happen, then just like throttle back and slow down. You don't have to get back out there yet. If you're still in this stage, maybe just kind of lean into that and explore it and process it. Put it behind you and then get back out there.
Right. And it's the putting it behind you and getting back out there part that I was really addressing, because once you've been in a situation in life, as I have in the past, where I felt like I couldn't go anywhere because it was all coming at me. That is very different than where I'm at now, whereas I protect myself from myself. It's like the difference between, that's what they say about boundaries. You set boundaries from a place of love. It's about setting a boundary from your love for yourself. It's not about, going out there at the world. And
100%.
Yeah.
100%. I'm with you there on that, Lena. I think that when we are taking the time to, like you said, learn who we are, growing within ourselves and setting our own boundaries, then when we are out there dating, when you are going and organically going out, you're going to attract a whole different level of people. The whole concept for manifesting and doing all this stuff too is also you are the company you keep. So if you're keeping company with yourself in this lower level vibration where you don't respect and love and appreciate yourself, that's the people that are going to treat you that way. And if you want to be a millionaire, you're going to hang out with millionaires. You want to be this certain kind of person within yourself. You got to start thinking about where you're going to go and what are you going to do to put yourself in that place. And remember that even if you're in the room of, let's just talk about people who are on this higher vibration. If you accidentally stumble into this room, you're not going to understand it. You're not going to appreciate it. You're not going to be accepted into it if you're not there.
I'm going through this in my friend group right now. And it was something that at the end of last year, I really wanted to explore and to, I don't know, a little like doing some weeds type situation in my life, because I just noticed so much that when I was in certain spaces and when with certain people, it just, I don't know, the outcome just didn't really feel that great. I didn't look back with like fondness. And and since doing that, I've attracted just like everybody who's just like glowing so brightly. And it's and it's different, you just like keep on waiting for the next time to come so anxiously. And it's like kind of growing, and just like attracting more and more like high vibe people. And it's amazing.
That's my measure.
Easy, though. It's challenging to make some of these decisions when it comes to other people.
Yeah.
I went out with this guy one time and we were supposed to go play tennis, and we played tennis for like 5 fucking minutes. And then we sat on a bench and talked the rest of the time. I was super annoyed about it because all he kept talking about was higher vibration this and higher vibration that. And he kept saying, you and I, we're not on the same vibration. And I was so sick of it because he was basically talking down to me, telling me I wasn't on his level. And I said, you're right. We're not on the same level. I'm a much higher vibration than you because you have to insult me. And I just know who my worth, and I can walk away from this.
That's a total neg.
Oh, yeah.
I love that though. I love that you said that to him though.
I was like, peace out, motherfucker.
Well, here's the thing. A lot of women complain and they say, oh, I only attract these guys and they're terrible to me. And why do they do that? And I don't deserve that. Well, yeah, you're right.
Because you let it.
Well, yeah. So here's a thought that I'm having listening to all of this, which is people don't treat you the way you deserve to be treated. People treat you the way you think you deserve to be treated because you allow it.
Yes.
100%. What are you allowing?
That's beautiful, Lena. That's a beautiful. Well, we have less than a minute left. We can't get into 2 more deep situations here because I'm always making DJ late for his next podcast, producing. So we don't want to do that to him. But we do have exactly a minute left. So any quick closing thoughts for both of you on where to meet your match or what to do to get to that place, Janice?
Love yourself and the rest will follow.
Oh, I love that. That's really true. I never believed that loving yourself was the first step until I actually did it. Yeah. So Lena, what about you, babe?
Exactly. It's very similar. I was going to say, just here's your new mantra. Good men are everywhere, or good women are everywhere, or good people are everywhere. Start with that. Good people are everywhere, and you're going to start to see them all over your life. And then eventually your people will come.
And along with that thought is good things are everywhere. Show me how great my life can be today.
Yeah.
Show me
I
how
love that.
great my life can be today.
That's awesome.
So
Blessed be.
yeah, life is great. So first of all, Janice, thanks for co-hosting with me. Lena, you are the shit. You're coming back because we
Thank
love
you.
talking to you.
Thank you.
And to all of our listeners, thank you so much for being here again today. We hope you come back. And until next week, where we're talking about sex with Steve again.
I want to.
Come back and join us. See you next week. And until then, keep it real.
Bye.
If you enjoyed this episode, please share with your friends, like and follow us on Instagram at 50 Shades of _bullshit and Facebook at 50 Shades of Bullshit. Thanks so much for listening, and we really hope to see you again next week.